Hi, this is Isaac from Turn Sounds. Coasters aren't just for fancy people.
Welcome to Just Keep Walking, a podcast focused on the Walking Dead TV show. In this episode, we're discussing Season 10, Episode 13, called What We Become.
Didn't know that's what it was called.
There we go. This one actually was one of the few that I had to actually look up and check what it was called because I didn't know either.
Right.
There we go. Off to a good start.
Yep.
I'm your
Always.
host, Ben, and joined by, on my left, Isaac, hashtag long live Luke.
Anthony. Yeah, that's the long form name that I give myself. But
That's
happy
it.
to be here.
And on my right by Liam, who I haven't come up with. Well, you haven't got your own hashtag yet. That's your
No.
job.
Hashtag. All right, there's some work for me to do.
Okay,
Okay.
that's
Yeah.
some homework. Yeah. Oh,
Who said that? Oh.
And it begins.
it begins straight into it. Yeah. Well, thanks for tuning in. Today, we're talking about this whole Michonne episode. We're gonna sort of get into. We'll talk about our overall impressions first, and then a bit more of an in-depth review. Then we've got a few segments at the end, and pretty much just a spoiler warning for the whole thing. I'll get Isaac to give our official Turn Sounds thing.
Yeah, spoilers ahead!
Thank you very much. So that's for the episode and the show so far, but not for anything upcoming or any leaks or whatever. So there we go.
Wonderful.
Let's just
Excellent.
dive straight in. What did you guys think of the episode? Who wants to go first?
Well, I was speaking to Liam beforehand, and I don't know if you saw this because Ben and I share the same Instagram account for Turn Sounds. Some guy put a very mild-ish kind of spoiler on Instagram. I don't know if you saw.
Was this today?
Yes, this morning.
I pretty much avoided Instagram for the whole day. So
Okay.
yeah.
Wise move.
Yeah. So we had that whole spiel last week about don't spoil things. Wait 3 days. Be a sport. And this person wasn't exactly a spoiler, but just kind of voiced how disappointed they were with this episode for
Okay.
dotline some reasons.
Yeah,
And I was kind of like, that's still spoilers in my opinion. Just zero
It's fun
opinions.
to put that up, but put just a spoiler warning first. Or
Yeah.
on Instagram, I like what a lot of people do. They'll put the first pictures, it just says spoiler alert, and then you have to swipe right if you
Yeah.
want to see the actual
That's
content.
good.
So,
That's a
Yeah.
good way to go about it.
yeah.
However, I could not disagree more with said person.
Really?
I
Okay.
really enjoyed this episode.
Fantastic.
There was a few bits that I would probably change by the director of it, particularly director of photography.
Mm.
But otherwise, wow, what a story. What a story.
Great.
That's just surface thoughts, yeah. I enjoyed it.
Fantastic. Liam, what do you think?
I definitely enjoyed it, although I wasn't all too convinced with obviously Michonne leaving.
Right.
Yeah, I felt like it was not written the best
Okay.
for me personally. I mean, yes, I get that you want to go find Rick, but at the same time, you've still got 2 kids back home.
Right.
Yeah, I can't see. I know that they have to write her out, obviously, but at the same time, realistically, you would have thought she'd go back. There would have been a discussion with some more of the leaders. All right, cool. Who are we going to send out to? Let's follow this up.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
Yourself?
True. Yeah, I liked it. Sort of had some ups and downs for me. I really enjoyed the whole experience watching it. Some things didn't quite click or gel
Right.
so well. Didn't quite get into a few of the story elements, but overall really liked it. And yeah, good experience, good episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we
I mean,
go.
I'm the same. Yeah.
Join us again next week, listeners, when we talk about...
So after the cold open, we'll maybe get back to that a bit later. But we pick up where we left off with Michonne. She's left on the boat with Virgil to go to this mysterious island. This whole episode really, because there's no comic content related to this, or even theories and speculations, I hadn't heard a whole lot. So
Yeah.
there was definitely a lot of mystery and just it could go any way, really. Yeah, that was how I felt about it. Did you guys have any expectations coming into it?
No, I was exactly the same. I was aware that it's not really coming from any sort of source material, so I'm like, this could go, any particular direction they decide to go in is going to be completely new and fresh.
Yeah.
I'm all too trusting of people, I think,
Okay.
when it comes to us getting introduced to new characters. So you know, all the characters in this series are super skeptical of everybody they meet, you know,
right,
as they should be.
Sure.
But like we kind of get a bit of a glimpse into the character motivations from a different perspective. And so this guy, Virgil, I thought from the get-go that he was going to be stand-up guy, you know. There was a small twist about his family being dead and all of that, but I thought that was just the one white lie kind of out of the way,
right,
sort of thing. Oh boy.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, as particularly towards the start of the episode, as the whole mystery was unfolding, and we really don't know whether we can trust this guy and what the secret is on the island. That is the first time in a while that I've really felt sort of that. You know, I guess I was scared, or you know, that it really felt like a horror show. Just that element of completely unknown. You know, her walking through the building and finding the cell and stuff like that. Like you're just waiting for her to come across something horrible or someone to slam the door behind her, and a lot of the cinematography as well when they were in that hallway and just seeing the zombies at the end. A lot of it was just shot really, really well. The music, everything really just felt, very, I don't know, scary.
Yeah. They relied pretty heavily on one shot, which it was really smooth, which I enjoyed.
Yeah.
But she was sort of following the camera and she was shining her torch right in the lens.
Oh, yeah.
And I was just like, you know, if it had stayed for, you know, a second or two, I would have been like, okay. But there was like, you know, 5 seconds at a time where it would just be the flashlight, you know, blowing out the lens of the camera. And you can't see a thing. Like, well, what's the point of that? Like, it's dark around? Like, I know that. So...
That's fair. Yeah. Absolutely.
But then I really enjoyed, you know, seeing from Virgil's point of view, he just... I don't know if we're here yet or not.
Yeah, go for it.
Pretty much with that ironing board or stretcher or whatever it is that they use to run down the hallway.
Oh, yeah.
That was cool.
And you just see him behind that while he's being sort of clawed at, and then by the time he gets freed, there's just zombies everywhere on the ground, you know?
Yeah.
It's kind of like, it's refreshing to see it from that point of view, not just hacking and slashing, you know? Even though it is cool to watch a sword in action.
But no, cool to see it from a different perspective. Absolutely. Yeah, and I like the whole method of, you know, using the stretcher, just run into him, shove them all back. Yeah, that was cool. How did you guys feel about Virgil overall and his, you know, the whole arc and everything that happened with that? So he's pretty much weed hippie guy, right?
It was like LSD, acid.
Yeah, probably. But that seemed like his whole... I don't know, his motivation or like that seemed to be behind most of what he was doing was he just liked tripping out, and I don't know. But
he said so right at the end,
didn't he?
Did he? When he was saying like, you know, he constantly trips out because he sees his family while they're alive, you know, and he gets to relive some of the moments that he had with them.
Yeah.
But then also the reason he locked up Michonne was because she was snooping around early. And she would have supposedly killed him if she'd found out what he was doing. And so he had supposedly no choice but to lock her up. He was explaining all of this right at the end.
If she found out that he was tripping on acid all the time?
No, that he had locked up other prisoners. Then she would have...
Okay, but why did he lock them up? So this was my main gripe with the episode, is that it didn't quite click with me. But maybe you can explain it to me a bit more if you understood it.
We spoke about this before, off mic, that it was very muffled, a lot of the conversations that were had.
True.
So it was a bit tricky, but from what I understand, like they all used to work on the island together, or whatever they did. And then when Apocalypse happened, a lot of people started turning and dying, and he accidentally locked his family away.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
And so like the guilt of that kind of drove him a bit up the wall, and so because of that he started taking...
And he just locked all those other guys away so they'd stay out the way?
I suppose, yeah, you're right. It's left open, isn't it?
Yeah, so that was the thing for me, because it kind of seemed to... A lot of the episode really revolved around Virgil, and then, you know, they decide to show him mercy and all that, but I just wasn't quite on 100% understanding his motivation and what was going on there. But that'll probably be something when I watch it a second time, it'll click a bit more. Yeah, that was my initial sort of thoughts on that, though. Yeah, anything, Liam?
Well, it didn't really Yeah, you sort of understand where he's coming from to a degree. You see that he's snapped, and I think they used that term, like, that he snapped.
Yeah, he snapped,
and he's gone crazy. Yes, he's gone through massive trauma, but I still can't really comprehend why he did what he did.
Yeah,
like, why would you lock up these co-workers? I understand you want to trip out so you can see your family, but then why did you? Well, obviously he tried to make Michonne trip. Well, he did make Michonne trip out to try and get her to understand, but it was just very warped.
Yeah,
it didn't really make a whole lot of sense. But then, as soon as it started, it was over. They've shown him mercy, and he seems to have gone his separate ways. The other guys don't know where they've gone.
Sure.
Yeah, it was a little bit disjointed in that sort of regard.
Yeah, fair. I wonder if even it might have worked a bit better if they had split this storyline up over a number of episodes and just shown bits at a time and given us time to sort of think about and dwell about it a bit more, because that probably sums up how I felt about it. It just felt a bit rushed. You've got, okay, we think we trust him, oh, he's a bad guy, oh, now we're showing him mercy, oh, now we're leaving him behind, and it sort of just happened one after the other really quickly without really sinking in. So
it may have been a problem more so for me if it had been like when she asked, how long have I been in here, and they'd said, 2 weeks or something, and like that much time had gone by. But because it was just one day, it's kind of alright that she's still not that resigned yet.
Sure.
As far as wanting to get out. Now, I thought that they were going to do, because they do this all the time, not AMC, but just people when there's like, I don't know, drug states and stuff like that, where it's like, they get out, but that's all just part of the illusion. That's all part of the delusion, rather. And so I thought that the entire episode, even up to the boat and her finding all of Rick's stuff, was just part of that drug-induced state that she was in. And then she was going to wake back up in the cell, and I was going to be super annoyed because that would have been so cheap.
I'm glad that wasn't the case.
Yeah.
Imagine next episode was just like... Or like an after-credit scene at the end of this. They're just waking up... Yeah, no, thankfully there wasn't too much of that. And the whole, we'll start with the start of the tripping out sequence where there was all the cool camera stuff and the effects. I loved that. I thought that was awesome.
Very good.
What do you think, Liam? Like, did the effects, I don't know, did they work for you?
Yeah, hands down.
Yeah?
I think they dragged that a little bit too long.
Yeah, I agree.
But man, it was brilliant. The effects were fantastic. The ground sort of dissolving around her in those colors, that was incredible. And I'm colorblind, so that says a lot.
I, of course, have no point of reference as well for what it should be like. But if you guys after the show want to...
we'll see how accurate it was.
As long as we don't have bad trips imagining us beating people with Lucille.
Because that was Virgil's problem. You don't stone alone. That's the one rule.
That should be our next Turn Sounds opener.
You don't stone alone.
We don't endorse drugs and Turn Sounds.
No, we do not. Or tea. Only coffee.
Coffee is a way of life.
Yeah.
Technically a drug also.
Really?
Caffeine, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. There we go. You learn something every day. I think there was one point where they were doing like the overlapping fading shots, and I was like, oh, that's the one stereotype. That's sort of the cheap one to do. But I think the way they used it was actually really good, just to signify passing of time and the confusion and all that. So, I loved everything about that whole tripping out sequence. And then we went right into the montage of pretty much an alternate backstory to Michonne of what could have happened if she had just left Andrea behind. And
So first question on that, was that old footage that they reused from Andrea, or did they get the actress back for some extra shots?
I think it was old.
I reckon old. I think most of it was what was actually in the end of season 2.
Okay.
And maybe they had a few extra shots that they didn't put in the edit just to add to it. But I'd be surprised if they had got it back and shot more.
Because that was the starting of the episode. Hey, just that first.
That's right. Yeah, and I thought that was cool. Okay, going back to when we first met Michonne, but then she turns and walks away, and that makes her go, oh, that's not what happened.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
And then as well with the backpacker scene, the hitchhiker on the side of the road, That took a little bit of remembering power in my brain, because I was like, that happened to someone else, didn't it? Like there was some guy hitchhiking,
that's right,
saying, wait, please, and they left him behind.
Yeah, I can't remember specifics either, but yeah, I'm glad you remember that too. That's there was somewhere around, probably in season 3, there was just some random guy who they left behind, and it's sort of showing, if she was in all these different situations that had happened on the other side of it, how it could have played out.
Yeah,
and the saviors, that was done so well. Hey,
so well,
brilliant,
seamless. Like how even Jeffrey Dean Morgan, he looked younger, and he looked like he did back in the day.
Well, back in the day was only 2-3 years ago.
Yeah, something like that. But still, he looks different now to how he did then. But they just hit the nail on the head. Or the
bat on the head.
Yeah, yes. No, I didn't think that through.
No.
But yeah, it was even great to see just some of those old characters again. Seeing the actor of Laura and stuff come back, but also getting Glenn and Heath and just those reusing some of the old footage and then mixing it in with new stuff and probably alternate takes that they didn't use. Just there was maybe one shot that stood out as a bit CGI, but really it was seamless for the most part.
Yeah. I think I got the one.
Yeah, which one did you think?
The one with Andrew Lincoln or Rick. And she comes face to face with him.
Ah, okay.
That's the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah,
that was what I was thinking.
Yeah, that's fair. That stood out a bit. There was also another one where Michonne walked past Maggie at the lineup, and that looked slightly like green screen, but only a touch.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, kudos to those guys. That was amazing. Yeah, sort of blending of all that. Was, and I would love to see like a whole series of just alternate what could have happened. I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah. And something definitely needs to be said. The score that was played behind this entire montage.
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't it amazing?
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. Really throughout the whole episode, I can't fault the score at all. That was amazing. So Marvel's doing that, aren't they? They're doing like a What If series on Disney Plus, I think.
Are they really?
Got that coming up? Yeah. So I think there's a few things. I can't remember too much specific, but maybe like what if Pepper Potts was Iron Man, or there was something like that. Like if different roles had been swapped and all that. So
that'd be pretty cool.
It would actually, if that starts something, I'd love to see more Walking Dead stuff. Even just little shorts. Like what if Shane stuck around for longer and encountered the Saviors? What would he do there? Yeah. I'd love to see that, because this was a really fun sequence.
Yeah, it really
I
was.
can answer that question.
Oh, can you?
Okay.
I believe I have the answer.
Sure, go for it.
Oof.
Abraham wouldn't have taken the bat. Shane would have taken the bat.
Yeah, true.
Hands down.
True. Yeah, that would work. Absolutely.
Sad but true.
Sad but true.
R.I.P. Abraham.
R.I.P.
And yet I smile.
So from there we go into the whole, she gets out and shows them mercy and all that, but pretty much I love the setup of, in the flashback, there's a real emphasis on Rick's boots in that one scene where he steps on her arm to stop her reaching for the sword. I thought that was a really clever way just to jog your memory and set that up so it's in the back of your head, so then in the next scene or a couple of scenes later when she actually finds the boots, you instantly draw the connection and you know what's going on. Yeah,
that was well done.
Definitely. Well, this episode really set up far more mysteries than it answered.
Oh yeah.
The drawing on the phone really is getting me thinking and confused.
So I wanted to ask you guys while we were watching, but I thought I'd better save it for now.
Sure.
So that's fresh, isn't it? That whole drawing on the iPhone, like shameless Apple plug, but
yeah.
Had we seen that before? Was that something that Rick carried around with him?
Never.
Okay.
I've never seen him with a phone, apart from maybe the earlier seasons, right after the outbreak.
3. Wow.
Yeah.
I think, in season 4, maybe he was like listening to an iPod or something, but I really can't remember much else. But that wasn't Rick's drawing, because like it had a drawing of Judith how she looks now, which was, Rick disappeared 6 years ago, so that's not even how he remembered her. And I mean, the drawing was really good, so it's probably a good artist. And all the, what was it, Chinese lettering or yeah.
But it did say Rick up at the top.
Yeah, that's right. So a lot of mystery there. Who's drawing that and who worked out the connection? That's
Also, supposedly you can't scratch an iPhone screen.
Mystery debunked.
Yeah, what was it drawn with? Why did you draw on an iPhone, not a piece of paper?
That's
many
what I thought.
mysteries.
Yeah, you've got a whole book there. Why wouldn't you have just drawn on that? Like, well, no, I better scratch it into this iPhone here.
Any sort of theories whatsoever of what could be going on with that?
I have no idea.
I'm completely clueless.
So crazy garbage lady.
Yeah, Jadis. Yeah.
Wasn't she like all into Japanese art and whatnot?
Yeah, sculpting she did a lot of, and I think painting as well.
So she might have scratched something on there.
Yeah, maybe. Possibly.
Actually, yeah, that's possible.
Yeah.
Maybe that's
my first thought.
Maybe she's checked in on from a distance. Maybe she's checked in on the communities or whatever, and she's, I don't know, that's her way of giving a little message to Rick saying, this is what they look like at the moment.
I could see it.
Wow.
Not a bad theory. Definitely. But really, this is, I got nothing. Hey, that's a massive mystery.
Another sort of question. Do we know at all, so with this standalone series that Rick is going to have like in cinema.
Sure, yeah.
Is there any kind of release date as far as year is concerned?
Nah,
nothing.
There's really been nothing. When they first announced it, we were sort of expecting probably this year or even earlier, but really they just haven't released anything at all. I think there was a very brief trailer, like it wasn't a trailer, it was just like a title sort of thing that was at Comic-Con or something along those lines, but really nothing at all otherwise. I think some of the actors, like Jadis, she's the actress has got the haircut again and stuff like that. So that's a good sign to sort of show us that maybe something's happening. But big mystery, definitely.
Because looking at if they're writing out Michonne from the series,
it seems like they've got a plan. Hey?
It would be nice to know that she's stepping out of this and into the movies. Like I know that she's got other stuff along the way with other, people. But yeah,
definitely
that would be good.
And I feel like maybe even if they don't have us, they're not sure where it's going. Well, the virus is probably that's halting all movie productions. So who knows where it could go from here? But they've left it very open-ended with her and with Rick to, if they change their minds and they don't want to do movies, if they want to do a series or, they could really do whatever they want from here. So at least there's options. But hopefully it doesn't take too long because, we want to see it.
Impatient fans we are.
Absolutely. Don't give us so many big mysteries.
Yeah.
And we even got a reminder of Heath as well. So he might be tied into that whole thing.
That's right.
Well, there were, but correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he was rumored to be in those Rick movies, wasn't he?
Yeah. So we touched we touched on it in the last episode, but yeah, there are a few things with the RV and all that really sort of confirmed in the show that at least Jadis had something to do with Heath's disappearance. So, yeah.
Of all the people to put in the movie, like he was okay as a character, but he wasn't one of the favorite characters. So
he was barely on it, was he?
Exactly.
Well, I wonder if it was just an afterthought, like they just kind of screwed up his exit by accident, and then they're like, oh, how can we redeem this? Oh, let's tie it in with the Rick stuff.
Well, my understanding is that he was going to come back onto the show, but his work schedule got in the way of that, so he just didn't.
I think you're right. Absolutely,
so
yeah.
I suppose it wouldn't be too bad if he does end up going onto the movies, but
I'd be keen for it, 100%. Yeah.
I think that was just their way of saying, oh, yep, they've picked up that Heath just disappeared. Helicopter people got him.
Yeah.
The weirdest thing about that and why a lot of people weren't happy with it is not the fact that he disappeared and we didn't get a follow-up, but just the fact that no one in Alexandria even mentioned it.
Yeah.
Like, Tara comes back and there's no, oh, where's Heath? Like, it's just everyone just completely forgets about him and moves on. So,
am I a joke to you?
Yeah, poor guy. He seemed awesome. Yeah, well, we'll have to see, I guess. Lots to tie into those movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. The music. So I got a few little tie-ins for you. The stuff that was the music that was playing when she was discovering the Rick drawing and the boots and stuff like that was what played in the first episode of this season when I think it's Judith telling RJ the story of the brave man sort of thing and the bridge and all that. So there's a little, I don't know, Rick
nod
legend theme there that they seem to be working on. And also at the very end, when she was like helping out those two guys and heading towards the big group, it was sort of a different version of the music that played as Rick was about to blow up the bridge. So yeah, I don't know. I guess it kind of seems like, yeah, that's the sort of theme for when these big characters are leaving and entering this storyline. And I don't know if that was intentional, but it seemed like that was just to give you that same feeling of, hey, you know, this is their big exit for now, but we're still going to come back to it at some point. So,
yeah. Interesting.
Who knows? Who knows? The Judith call. Half of it was very muffled, and that wasn't your speakers. That was
could have been.
I mean, it could have been, but like it really, like that seemed like it was the audio on the show because a few of the lines were easy to understand, but you know, this is a TV show that people are watching on their iPhones and crappy TV speakers and all that. So like, yeah. So I imagine a lot of people are in the same boat with that sort of missing quite a bit of the conversation. So I'll try listening to it again with headphones maybe and see if I can get more out of it. But overall, what we did here, I quite liked and enjoyed it. Any thoughts there?
I think that conversation was why I was a little bit upset with the way they wrote her out.
Okay.
Yeah, I get that Judith's putting on a brave face, and it was an absolutely beautiful conversation. But I'm also thinking, like, you're speaking to your daughter. Like, there's no way you're going to be this cool about, hey, he might be alive. I'm just going to go try and find him.
Yeah, let's go look.
Yeah, it sort of broke that realism for me a little bit there. So I'm like, actually, I don't think this would have happened this way.
Yeah.
But it was really, really beautiful. I did like it.
Yeah, well, the main thing that made it work for me was Judith saying, you know, we got the Whisperers, Alpha's not going to hurt us anymore, that's not a problem. So I feel like that was a chance for Michonne to go, okay, they're safe, and I can leave them, and you know, they talk about Rosita and Uncle Daryl and stuff like that, so she knows that right now there's, well, at least in her view, there's no threat from the Whisperers or an outside source, and they've got safe people, you know, protecting the kids. So,
well, there is frowning McTwo knives hanging around still.
Absolutely. So, you know, obviously we know that, but at least as far as Michonne's aware, the Whisperers are completely out of the picture now, and she can sort of breathe out a sigh of relief knowing that the kids are safe at the moment. So that kind of justified it a bit for me, but it's still, they could have just added one more thing, maybe another bit of motivation or a reason why, you know, maybe the ship was going a certain way and it was going to be really hard for her to get back to Alexandria, so it would have been easier for her to just keep going this way, and or a more specific clue even for her to follow.
I actually thought that's the way they were going to go with it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I thought the other group, well, people that they were with, were going to say, actually, we're going this way. Sorry, we're not taking you back to where we initially said.
Sure, that'd work.
And I would have been okay with that. Like the phone call, the walkie-talkie call would have been those two then saying, hey, look, I'm safe, but you got to go do what you got to do. And
yeah.
She's obviously going to be saying, well, I'm going to try and kill these guys and come back to you.
Yeah.
But no, go find the brave man because we're safe, and you know the ship's obviously going in that direction. I was expecting it to go down that direction.
Definitely. Actually, one thing which Makerpath Presents on YouTube pointed out, you're sort of comparing the writing from this season to even the first season of the show, is just something that I'd like them to do a bit more. There's been quite a few examples of this in the latest episodes of just, you know, people making decisions with only one factor like playing into it. So it's like they gave them a bit of motivation, but they didn't quite really make it work. So an example in season 1 is they are going back into the city to free Merle and to get the tools and the bag of guns that was left behind. This is right towards the start of the series. And it's sort of like, okay, Daryl's there saying, hey, you can't leave my brother tied up, handcuffed on a roof. So there's one bit of motivation, but it's like, oh, is it worth risking people to go in for that? And then there's the guns. Yeah, that would be helpful. Oh, is it worth risking people going into the city for that? And then the last sort of straw is that the RV's broken and we need to fix that, and the bag of tools is left up on the roof. So that kind of seals the deal. And it's, just tying in a pile of different things that really makes it, it justifies why they made the risky decision. And I like to see things like that where the whole story just, it makes sense and everything really, really ties in versus just giving one reason for them to do it and then they just go and do something that's, pretty dangerous and risky.
Yeah. Well, if you think about what that thing is as far as like how high stakes it is, like in that same situation, if it was like Judith that was left up on the roof, that'd be enough even on its own just to do the whole thing. So it's like, if Michonne thinks that there's even the slightest chance that Rick is alive, and like same with Judith, like, that the brave man is still alive, like, wouldn't they just like throw caution to the wind and like try and pursue that a little bit?
Yeah.
Like that's kind of what I got from it. I was reasoning with in my mind, and I was kind of like, you're not really having this conversation with like your young daughter, are you? Like, you're going to do what you feel is right. And, having that little bit of affirmation coming from Judith saying, no, you go and you go get him and go find him, I suppose was enough to sort of tip her toward making a decision. Yeah. But...
yeah, and, with all that you've said, I'm happy enough with the decision. Definitely not, it doesn't upset me too much or anything. Probably something else that would have maybe, sealed the deal a bit more is if they had just throughout the season just put a few more little hints or something in of Michonne really missing Rick or the kids doing something and just saying, oh, this would be so much better if Rick were here. I don't know. You can write it better than that, but just a few little reminders of why it would make such a difference to have Rick back, and then that really, would make you go, oh, now we've got a chance to actually potentially find him. Now it's worth doing, rather than us having to kind of think, come up with all the reasons.
And I did, if you guys recall, I did mention something about Michonne's going to find a clue about Rick or something.
Oh, you were all over this.
Now, AMC, I'm not saying that this was my idea. Or that you need to...
This happened last week too. Come on, this is...
If it happens 3 times, then I got to make a prediction for next episode.
The thing is, because Liam and I are kind of like aware of the comics and stuff that's coming up, so we know some things that you don't know.
Some what?
Some things that you don't know.
Some what?
Thanks.
It's a requirement of the show.
Some things, some stuff and things that maybe you don't know that's coming up. But I've got to say, all your not all, but like a lot of your predictions have been very accurate compared to what we've been saying. So kudos to you.
Next week on Undercover Boss.
Yeah.
Just so you're aware,
I'm
if
Scott
the
M. Gimple.
if the apocalypse does happen, I'm coming straight to you.
Yeah. If you saw what happened to me in Adventure World, you wouldn't.
But we've got a plan this time. We'll plan ahead.
Yeah. Totally. So, man, good job, Isaac.
Thank you.
And then the ending, we've got her. They're on this boat, and so what? She leaves the crew that were on the boat, right?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah.
From what we saw on screen, that's apparent.
Okay, because she said to Judith, "I'm helping these people get home." And then she sort of just got to land and said, "See ya."
Yeah.
Lol jokes.
Yeah. And then
Crossies doesn't count.
Yeah, and that was kind of a bit weird. Like she picked, she got the new Walker pets to help her blend in, and then like 2 seconds later just killed them. Why did you even bother?
Well, she didn't know she'd run into those people. So
yeah, still you could have kept him anyway. I don't know.
Well, I did like the contrast with that one, actually, because when we first saw at the start of the episode, and even in the middle, where she's got like the hood on and the chains with her new pets, as you call them.
Yeah, pets.
I like in the final bit of this episode, you actually see with rope instead of chain, and she's got her hood off, and you see like the different haircut. So it's a very clear distinction between this is the now, this is, you know, the path she's leading on. So
I see that. Definitely. Yeah, I liked having it in there. I think I just I don't know. I would have liked him to do it better. I have a better reason for it. It seemed more like they were just like, oh, we have to have this image in there of her with the walkers. You know, if it's for that, you know, to mirror the start or to just, you know, show that iconic picture. So I was like, oh, I'll find a reason to put it in there. And then that was kind of the best they came up with, is she just does it and then kills him 2 seconds later. So, yeah, I don't know. It felt a little bit flat for me, but that's okay.
Fair enough.
The group, then, there's this massive... Yeah. Any thoughts or theories? I got not much, really.
My prediction is that they're going to be some kind of religious zealots who believe that the apocalypse is some sort of supernatural work.
Okay.
And that, that's about it.
Interesting.
Do you think that they're part of the helicopter group? Like the whole A and B stuff? Or?
Possibly. Because
that could tie in, couldn't it?
Yeah.
You're trying to leech off my theory.
I'm trying to add to it.
Yeah.
But yes, because I have no theory other than potentially the Commonwealth.
Yeah, potentially.
Okay. Which is another group from the comics.
Because really, that's about the only group now. I mean, besides a military group, but even I guess the Governors was kind of a military group. But like we've seen, you know, rough gang-like groups with Negan.
Sure.
Like, you know, military, the Governor, or like kind of primal with Alpha.
Yeah.
I guess with the Wolves a little bit as well. We haven't really seen any sort of fanatical groups.
Okay, interesting.
So I wonder if that's where they would take it.
Let's see what you're going
And I can imagine a main character being sacrificed to some heathen god of some kind.
All right. That's out there. You're locking it in, Eddie. So
Yeah.
we'll see if we spoke too soon saying how accurate all your theories are.
It'll be there.
We'll
There's
see.
20 seasons of this, isn't there? So.
It'll be there some point.
Okay.
At any stretch, though, they look cool, right? They were just very organized, walking in their square formations with the square perimeter guards or whatever you'd want to call it. It was just really cool.
They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, well... my only issue with it is just... I guess she's heading north, but like... I wanted them to give Michonne some kind of clue to follow, but at the moment it seems like she's just wandering around and then she's just found this random group and she's going to go with them for some reason, but it doesn't really... I don't know why she would believe that would help her find Rick.
Was there something... There was a book, wasn't there, in the boat or the ship?
Okay.
I think my understanding was in that book it had a bunch of different ports.
Oh, and it said like West Virginia or something, didn't it?
Yeah, something to that extent.
West
Virginia. Okay.
Country roads.
So, yeah, some kind of manifest then.
Yeah, and because the phone was under that, maybe that's her way of connecting the dots of going, oh, well, maybe Rick has visited these places. That was what I took.
Go to the most recent entry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I think I just missed that. That makes sense, actually. Yeah. Oh, good one.
It's a weird clue, though, right?
Yeah.
Because I didn't see his name or anything within the book.
Oh, she could have put even just take the book with her, rip a page out and say, I don't know, just give us a close-up if that's what they were going for.
Yeah.
So,
So you'd like it to be a little more... spoon-fed is not what I'm going for here, but like a little more obvious.
Yeah, a bit more clear maybe. Leave plenty of mystery, absolutely, but as far as motivations throughout the episode goes, I was a bit lost at points just saying, okay, why are you doing this?
Because it seems they're kind of towing the line a little. Like you mentioned before in the episode where poor Connie got trapped underground, where there was like a sign carved into the rock and you were like, because I think Jerry was like, I'm no expert, but this is a sign. I know a sign when I see one or something.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
And that was just way too on the nose.
Sure, yeah.
So...
I guess... And the thing with that was that's like a small detail. Even if you completely missed it and you're confused why they went that way, you're going to forget about it 2 seconds later because it doesn't matter really. But this is a major thing. You know, Michonne leaving her kids behind, leaving the show, and I can't really tell you exactly why she's doing it. Well, why is to find Rick, but like why she's going that way or
yeah,
you know.
You don't want it to be so ambiguous, I suppose. You want a little bit more, no, I'm going this direction because this is pointing in that direction. It's not just I'm wandering around because I saw his boots and hope I might run into him.
And you can change it later if you know, you've written yourself into a corner. You can just say, oh, well, she comes across this group. You know, you bring that up in the next movie or whatever they're going to do with it. But
people don't like coincidence being written into story too much either, though.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I feel like they'd go into quite a bit of criticism if it was just, and this group that I happened to run into had met Rick at some point or was carrying his, I don't know, trusty revolver or something.
What if Rick is the god that they worship?
Oh.
Yeah.
So she meets this group and Rick's just on a pedestal or something, looking at her like, I don't know how I got here.
Yeah,
Can you help me?
Been here for 7 years.
These people just won't let me leave.
I need my sacrifices. Bring me some stuff and things. Giant golden revolver. Yeah, well, who knows? Yeah, I don't really want to see that.
No, please don't go down that path, AMC.
I would gladly see that happen.
As long as it's in another bad trip, then I'll live with it. But if that was the reality, I would be pretty upset.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, well, really, it's just so much mystery and so much that we're really going to have to just wait and find out and see what happens, see where they go with it. So looking forward to hopefully getting some answers, and hopefully they've, you know, really planned it out well and they know where they're going with it, and it's going to be a satisfying tie-in the way they do it. So that's what I'm looking forward to. My only other last thought on the episode, unless you guys had anything afterwards, is just Judith knowing about Alpha. Right. So they could explain it in the next episode with the timeline and stuff like that. But I mean, Michonne left like a while ago. I guess the boat trip would have been a while, so the timelines probably line up all right. But yeah, whether even Michonne was, Judith rather, was potentially in on it or knew about Carol's plan, that's a stretch maybe.
I like that.
Yeah, so who knows?
There you go.
That's a thought.
that actually could work, though, given that we've never seen Carol have any screen time with Negan outside of that last episode. Whereas Judith and Negan were quite close.
Yeah.
Maybe it was Judith who sowed the seed, like, hey, let's let the big dog out. Problem solved.
That'd be cool, actually.
Yeah.
I'd like that.
Judith, the puppeteer behind everything.
Little pig.
Imagine that.
Oh, wow.
All right, we'll find out next episode, hopefully. Isaac, what else did you have?
So, my one and only other thing I just would have liked to have seen. So, we got to see Sadiq back from the dead briefly.
Yeah.
Which was, you know, trippy, and it was a little bit, don't play with our emotions like that. Like, we've just seen him go, so it's like, I would have really liked if they could have brought Andrew Lincoln back just for, like, that one, like, 10-second scene.
Oh, yeah.
Just to have him actually say, like, it's all your fault, you know. That would have really messed with her, and then, you know, the trauma of seeing him again would have, like, really messed her up, and that just would have been really powerful to actually have a fresh scene with him that wasn't just reused stock footage.
Sure.
And would have been nice.
That would have been cool.
I agree.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I get he's busy and all that, but
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Well, regardless, it was nice to see him at least in the.
it was.
I'm not going. It's not flashbacks, whatever you call it. You know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. But yeah, that would have been cool to see a new scene. But hey, can't get everything, can you? That's all right. Any?
Yet I smile.
And yet I smile. Any further or last thoughts? I think that pretty much wraps up.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Overall, it was a really good episode.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
A few little things, like we've all said, would
Yeah.
probably look at doing a bit differently, but yeah, definitely a really, really good episode.
Definitely. cool. You're smiling, Isaac.
I was, and yet I smile. I was tempted to watch it before you guys, just so you know what that feels like.
Hey, but we tell you, we're like, look, we're going to watch it anyway. Like you say, can't we wait, guys? Nah. So we don't do it behind your back. We're upfront and honest people.
Yes.
Well, that's going to sum up our thoughts on the episode. We'll get in now to our next segment called...
Previously on AMC's The Walking Dead.
That
segment.
That segment. So this gives us a chance just to talk about the first 9 or so seasons of the show. Even we can slip in bits from the first half of season 10 if we want to. Yeah.
I won't.
The rules are pretty rough, but pretty much just stuff that we haven't got a chance to talk about because we started this podcast halfway through season 10. So anything from the previous seasons that we'd like to discuss?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Who wants to start this week?
I shall start.
Okay.
Excellent.
Go for it.
I had one initially planned out, but I'm actually going to change it after our conversation today.
Okay.
So I'm going to bring up, because we were speaking about Michonne and Heath. Do you guys remember the conversation they had? It was in a pet store or something.
Yeah.
And she's talking about how Heath is saying you guys are outsiders. Basically, we don't trust you. You guys are going to get us all killed. And Michonne turns around with this awesome comment of have you ever been covered in so much blood? You didn't know if it was yours, your friends, or Walker's? Then you don't know what it's like out there. Rick knows. That speech, wow, I loved it. I thought it was such a cool speech.
100%. Her delivery and the written dialogue was just
fantastic.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, that's coming back to me. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one.
Very good one. I like that. Good choice.
I'll save the other one for next week.
Okay, cool.
Very wise.
Isaac, you or me next?
I'll go.
Okay.
I'll trust you, Ben.
Okay.
Ben has been known to poach the odd.
Only in our other podcast, not in this one.
Okay. Mine's pretty simple this week, actually. But again, it's just keeping to the rules of this segment. It's just something that we liked.
Yeah.
Rick's hatchet that he carries, just as a choice of weapon. We'd seen knives and daggers, we'd seen swords and guns and spears and staves, all of that. We'd never seen a hatchet, and I think and I like the clarification as well. A couple of times it gets called an axe, and then someone says it's a hatchet.
Hatchet?
Yeah.
You gotta get
that's
that.
What I was thinking. Yeah,
that soundbite.
A hatchet.
He had a hatchet. A hatchet?
Yeah.
An axe.
But then doesn't, after Negan's acknowledged that's a hatchet, doesn't he say, "Get my axe"?
Bring me my axe. Yeah.
Come on, Negan. Get it right. Isaac's going to be very disappointed. He doesn't like when you use the wrong words for cabins and such.
Terminology. You gotta stay on.
If there's one person who can get away with that, though, it's Negan.
True. You're not really going to tell him. No. Imagine that in the RV. After all this has happened, Rick's like, "It's not an axe, it's a hatchet."
Did you bring back my axe? No, because it's a hatchet.
No, I brought back your hatchet.
But yeah, that's my pick.
I was thinking, would an axe be better because then you can, swing it from further away and you're not risking getting bit, but I feel like, a hatchet's a lot easier to just swing around and you're not at too much risk of getting bitten. So, yeah, that's a good one.
Also, just really quick, because it's heavy on the top and you got the lightweight handle, makes momentum swings a lot easier.
Plus, if you invert it, hammer.
Yeah, Bear Grylls.
Clever, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, I totally knew that.
That works.
I'm saying you're the next Bear Grylls. That's what I'm saying.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Well, yes, I
that's
absolutely
a good weapon. You can build stuff, nails into things. Yeah,
Ben.
Yeah. There we go. I'm going off of Liam's thing last week, which I said I would in the episode. I said there's other things I want to talk about from the battle at the prison.
Oh, yep.
So pretty much, what were you talking about last week? It was
the battle of the prison.
No, there was something
specific. Governor and Rick fighting.
That's right. Yeah. So I want to talk about some stuff in the rest of the battle. Pretty much just really the way it was directed, the music, the script, everything. mostly the thing that really stands out to me about it is the mix between drama, sort of, tragedy, character moments, but also action and even some fun action moments as well. So we've got, the stuff you were talking about with Rick and the governor. There's the way the music flows between sort of the tragedy of, we've just seen Herschel die. He's like a fan favorite character. Maggie and Beth have just lost their dad and stuff like that. And there's also all the stuff with Tara, who's reluctant to fight. And then there's the governor, his not his daughter, but the sort of girl he's been bonding with. He finds out that she's dead. So there's all this stuff going on in the middle of this battle. And yet we've also got cool moments like Daryl throwing the thing down, throwing the grenade down the barrel of the tank and blowing it up, and cool action moments. It's a fun action scene to watch, but also it just perfectly manages to balance the feeling of tragedy, but also
absolutely,
yeah. When you listen to the music from it, it's just amazing, just to think how they managed to fit it all in there and it not seem choppy, and a mix of different moods and stuff like that. Yeah, so that always stands out to me, and then ends with sort of, you think maybe Judith's dead because they find the empty cradle or whatever it is, but thankfully she's not dead, so that's good.
Long live Judith.
Long live Judith.
Hashtag long live Judith.
That's actually, I don't think we've really seen them kill kids on the show, so I like that they're staying away from
look at
that.
the flowers.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Oh, okay, damn it. Yeah, okay. I
was going to say, that's the episode as well where that girl full on caps another girl in the head, doesn't she?
Oh, damn it.
Yeah.
I spoke way too soon. But still, she was like crazy and evil. For the most part, they don't kill good kids.
Oh, good kids.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and Michonne killed all those bad kids. Yeah. They kill bad kids, but they don't kill good kids.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I spoke too soon.
Definitely
I didn't
arbitrary.
think that through well at all.
Okay.
Yes. Well, I think that's going to pretty much wrap us up for today. A bit shorter than usual, but
nice.
Yeah, it was a good episode. And it's kind of easier to really talk about it when it's all just one thing. It's not split up between different storylines. I do prefer when it's split up between different storylines, but this makes it quicker to talk about.
Absolutely. I am very much a fan of that. This was not the season finale.
Oh, yeah. Because you thought it was, because it really had that feeling, didn't it?
Yeah, if you pan out over something new that we've not seen, and we're seeing it for the first time, and then cut to black, that's the season finale, always.
Yeah.
It says so here in the book.
100%.
So, yeah.
Yeah, well, I suppose it was the finale for Michonne, really. That's her big finale. But the season goes on. Yeah.
Which I'm okay with.
Very okay.
Oh, absolutely. I wasn't ready to leave it there, so...
No, neither was I.
Sure. I like that they're really starting to get back into just not caring about the formula of a TV show and building up to have the big event happen in the finale and then the mid-season finale and all that. You still got to do that to some extent, but so the War with the Saviors, we've talked about how that was just dragged out way too long. It really, when they write the show to fit in an 8-episode structure or 16 episodes for the whole season and all that, it just... They stretch out the story or they compress certain things that should take longer and just do it so that it fits at the right point of the finale. But I much prefer when they just don't rush it. They do everything at the right time that it should happen and don't care about the episode number so much.
Which is great.
That's why I didn't mind the Pikes happening like at the sort of penultimate episode rather than the finale episode, because it absolutely could have been the finale. It ended on a great note, but I'd rather have them do that and then have the Storm episode after rather than just stretch out and have a filler episode so that they have the Pikes as the finale. Yeah, so good that they're doing that. Absolutely. Cool. Well, if you'd like to get in touch with us for, anything you'd like us to talk about, any of your thoughts for the episode.
Cups of tea.
Yeah. Let us know your recipes. No, we don't support tea on this podcast.
No tea.
Not at all. Only coffee. You can get in touch with us through our website, turnsounds.com. You can find out about some of our other shows there. Otherwise, turnsounds@gmail.com is a good way to get in touch. And we're also on social media, so Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're on all of those. So, if you send us a message, you can send us a voice message if you want, and we'll, as long as it's appropriate, we'll put it in the show. Yeah, so please do get in touch with us. We'd love to chat with you guys and interact with you, hear your thoughts, questions and suggestions.
Beautiful.
I've been your host, Ben, joined by...
Still Isaac.
And always Liam.
Always Liam. And thank you so much for listening, guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye.